The story of Sikhi begins with Guru Nanak. Year is 1469. It's a confrontation of what we now call Hinduism and Islam in Punjab. Those are the two dominant religions, and confrontation in terms of ideas, in terms of even battles, in terms of ideologies and rulers. This is just the beginning of the Mughal dynasty in India, for example. There's a lot of invasion which used to come from Middle East. And for example, at that time, Babar is coming. So that's the time in Punjab, in fact, for your audience, if I say Guru Nanak put a very small village on the world map. That village now is called Nankana Sahib. It was called Rai Poidi Talwandi. In fact, I visited it several times.
Where is it?
The city is called Nankana Sahib. It is about 2 hours from Lahore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here comes an individual, if I may call it individual, to present Guru Nanak. A child is born in that environment, and he puts that small city on the world map because of what? Because of what he brought, the revolutionary ideas he brought, and the mandates he created while alive to change the realities, the way he dialogued, the way he asked his question to his math teacher and his Sanskrit teacher and the qazi of the town and the Brahman of the town. It was not creating a ruckus. It was creating a dialogue because he's pursuing a particular love affair, is what I call it. So one of the things I like, for example, is his conversation with his math and Sanskrit teacher. He's asking more why questions. Today in education, we call these imaginative questions, not trivial questions, which are more what questions.
Like, for example, what if the moon disappears? What will happen to the earth? Is that a good example?
That's a what if question, which is another thing. So if I may give an example of that. So there's a ceremony. Let's talk about ceremonies, because we all go through ceremonies, whether we like them or not. They're part of the culture. Sometimes they have religious fervors. So there's a ceremony in his house. And it's an initiation ceremony, how you enter into adulthood. There's a Hindu culture. So he's born in a Hindu particular caste. And that ceremony is going on. Instead of saying, I'm not going to go through it, he says, tell me why I should go through it. And why was this not available for my sister who is older than me? So that's what he's doing. He wants people to process. He's not rejecting. This is how most Sikhs present it. And he never said that. He writes about it himself. That's how I know. And when I read that, he's saying, tell me what it will do to me. Why was this not availed to others? Why is exclusively just for me?
Like the logic of things.
That's what we call it, like a simple logic. Today we may get into Descartesian logics, but it's a higher logic. Sometimes it even transcends the mystic logics. Okay. Yes. So it's essentially trying to carry people with him rather than saying rejections and disruptions.
I will let you continue the story, sir. So Sikhi has some mystical elements.
Absolutely. And that's including in Guru Nanak's own, so 1469 is when he's born. So that's the South Asia, what's happening at the time. Mughal dynasty is about to get started. Babar has just attacked a town called Sadpur. I visited that. It's very interesting. And Guru Nanak protested against that. So that's the Guru Nanak you may not know. This is the historical Guru Nanak. He's protesting, and the fight is they both have the same faith. They're both Muslims. But one is Pathan, the local ruler, the Lodi dynasty, and the one is coming from Khorasan, the area sometimes between Iran and Afghanistan, that area we are coming from, right? And Guru Nanak witnesses the whole thing. And he questions it. And this is important, just to put in perspective. It's like a genocidal campaign going on. And mostly the victims are women, what we call today collateral damage. And he lists them. He says, I'm feeling the pain of Hindu women, Thakrani women, the low caste women, and even the Muslim women who are reading the Qurans. Because that's who's getting killed and that's who's getting enslaved and violated, the rapes included. And he, in fact, very powerfully writes, he says, I'm standing on the pile of dead bodies and I'm saying that this is the time to tell the truth, that this must stop. Nobody in South Asia, no Sufi, no religious leader even recorded a protest. He did, Guru Nanak did, and he was jailed for it. He spent time in jail.
People didn't protest out of fear?
Of course. Who's going to take on what we now call the Mughals and the Pathans?
Okay. When we speak about Mughal atrocities on the channel, Often we're labeled as being right-wing because we're targeting Mughals, but this is
Yeah.
so important that the Mughals actually first targeted Muslim brethren.
I think those labels create a problem. Like even the right wing is a label. What we are saying is the religion is same where the fight is going on.
Yeah.
It's two men who in their power are violating everyone else.
Yeah.
And Guru Nanak is protesting against what are you doing to what we call Rayyat or constituency today, right? The people.
We're taught about Babar in
Uh-huh.
our history textbooks as the first Mughal emperor. We're not taught all these things.
That's right. Because this is the part which doesn't get recorded. So at the same time, just so we don't get caught up in anti-Babar thing, because this is not anti-Babar. Babar comes to see Guru Nanak in jail. Because you see, one of the things in Islam we have to understand, Babar is not a regular guy. He is a scholar as well as a warrior. They are taught with the particular trainings. All the Mughals went through incredible trainings, actually. The Mughal emperors, I should say, Badshah Durte. So he comes to see Guru Nanak. And he sees that something ain't right here, because in Islam, if you come across a spiritual individual, you're supposed to eliminate all the wrong things you're doing to them. This is one of the trainings in Islam. And he sees there's something spiritual going on. He's organizing people, and they had given him harsh punishment, which chakki pees rahe the. He was given time. That's the labor, right? You do in prison, you give labors. So he immediately releases him that they've imprisoned a wrong man. He's saying the right thing, but I don't like it. But he's saying the right things.
But how did he spot that Guru Nanak Ji was?
Well, the traditions maintain, and some secondary texts maintain that Babar came to see him and he heard about it. This peer, in the vocabulary of Islam, that there's a peer who is saying this. This is not just another protester, as we would say today.
We stopped at the part where he meets Emperor Babar.
And then he, not just that, that actually happened. So we're going back and forth on it. We're not chronological right now.
Best way to do a podcast.
Sure. Well, let's talk about, he was traveling the world. This will be interesting. He went to Jagannath Puri.
One second, I got to dial you back to the moment he met Babar.
Okay.
So did Babar release him?
Yes, he was released. He was released by Babar. In fact, the folk tradition maintains that he's then sought Guru Nanak's blessing, the ability to be able to rule India.
Okay.
What does that mean now? Think about that.
I want to
Somebody who imprisoned you is now seeking your blessing. So there's an acknowledgement happening here that there are wrongs we do, there are crimes we commit. Classically, we call them sins, but they're crimes at the end of the day, right? You commit against individuals and against yourself. So those acknowledgements are happening, the ideas of forgiveness are happening, and then working to create better systems is going on as well.
Okay. Now I'll let you continue the story.
Sure. So part of the story is, which I think will be very relevant today, is he's having dialogues with multiple lifestyles. Because earlier and even today, honestly, everything becomes spiritual and political. We run away from political and sometimes we overly hype the spiritual. Again, these are the common words. So he's going to those centers and having dialogues. He had dialogues with yogis. He goes to Jagannath Puri temple, where Mrs. Gandhi was not allowed to enter. It's that strict. I'm just putting a perspective. He goes to Makkah, where a non-Muslim cannot enter. And he's having conversations with them. What does it take? The genius is just one element at our levels, but the communication ability, the way you present yourself, the way you're able to have a dialogue in disagreements, that's Guru Nanak. That's the real Guru Nanak, which is available to us in Guru Granth Sahib, what he writes himself, which is incredible. So in his travels, he's having these conversations. But there comes a point, and this is something different about him, which people may not know. He founds a new city. How many spiritual people do that? This is why to call him just spiritual is very problematic.
What would you call him?
Why do we need to call him anything?
He's
his own model.
Okay.
He actually is dealing with, in the vocabulary which is written about him, is that he is both Raj and Yogi, Raj Yog. This is very interesting. Raj is political. Jog is union. That's the literal meaning, not just Yoga Sutras, right? That the meaning of Jog is milap.
Like yog.
Exactly.
Similar.
Same yog and jog is same. It's just a linguistic variation, right?
Gotcha.
So that's what he is. He founds a new city called Kartarpur. Now, the question which someone like me, I visited there, I present on it now, I create a whole presentation because I found the old records. Why did he do that?
All this is in Pakistan.
in current Pakistan. You got to realize it's all Punjab.
Yeah.
And half of the Punjab in 47 is called West Punjab now, which is in Pakistan, which is a larger Punjab, by the way. And the other half, it's like a butterfly's wing. This may help you. This may help you and your audience understand certain things because it helped me. Actually, the map of Punjab, if you look at the original region of Punjab, looks like a butterfly. And one wing got clipped. That's part of the problem of Punjab.
I think we were at the part of the story where you spoke about how he established his own city.
Kartarpur.
So let's talk about Kartarpur. What was the purpose?
So Guru Nanak started Kartarpur, right? Why did he have to do it if he's running around everywhere, talking to people, having dialogues, and changing certain minds too? But his job wasn't to change all the minds. One of the things which we discover is that he founded a new city because the people and the state, the policymakers at the time, it was more imperial and kings and chiefs, they wouldn't change the policies. So he says, let's look at the Ikonkar paradigm, this oneness with a number one, not vagary of oneness but spelled out, and let's practice it here. So in that place in Kartarpur, I mean, the description given is the yogis came to see him, the Jainis came to see him, the householders came to see him, but very few stayed there to get mentored. And those very few is the beginning of what we now call Sikhs. You know, they came from various cities. Many came to check him out. Many came to have a dialogue with him, but few stayed to get mentored, and it did not include his two sons. So the institutionalization of Sikhi, as we may call it, it's really not an organized religion per se. It was more of what trainings are needed in order to change the policies in the world. First policy is my relationship with the divine. As an outgrowth of that, how to live in the community. So this idea of anti-racism, anti-sexism, these are the words we use today. He was practicing at Kartarpur.
Equality.
Equality is still very much a 20th century understanding we carry from a universal suffrage movement, from United Nations, because somebody's still deciding that you are equal, we give you this rights now. Because we think from a legality angle now. Somebody's still deciding that. What he's saying is no. Every human being on this earth is a product of divine gift. So from day one, there has to be zero tolerance for racism or sexism. That he practiced in Kartarpur. And Sikhs who stayed there, who got mentored in this, and eventually there's a transfer of leadership there. And this is the institution of Sikhi, where one individual named Lena became Angad, and we call him Guru Angad, or the second Guru Nanak, who perfected that. And he built that further in another city called Khadur. So the thing I want you to know is that every guru founded a new city. What does it take to plan a city? Think about that even today. We can't even figure out how to plan our own organization or a block. So architecturally, economically, because the policies were not being shifted in other spaces on how to practice this oneness. This is a huge difference between Guru Nanak's system, that it is not just personal, it has a very large element of community, and not just community in idea as a utopian idea, but a lived realities. That's why you see the organization of Sikh faith and Sikh people in such organized way, because it got mandated by Guru Nanak himself.
To draw out some more context from the time, historical, political context. So the Mughals had started establishing themselves. This was where Babar and Sher Shah and all that was going on in the Delhi area.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that Rajasthan had all the Rajput kings at war with each other. This is what I've understood from history. Some had war, some in alliances.
Depends on their allegiance, yes.
Yeah. And possibly even the rest of India kind of had that kind of a scenario where it's either the Mughals or these little dynasties kind of up against each other or in alliance with each other. And whenever you refer to policies in what you're talking about Guru Nanak's time, you're talking about these kings.
So the way the system works, right? So the emperor doesn't own all the land, right? Kings report to the emperor and chiefs report to the kings. So certain things, Badshah jo word hai na, you're a ruler of a particular area, that's emperor, but under you are kings. Under kings are the chieftains. So when I'm referring to policies, it's the areas they lived in. Okay. Whatever the local domain was, they decided the policies.
Okay. And policies were heavily decided by religious momentum of the past.
with religious fervors. They still are very political because policy making is political. They just need endorsement of the religious authorities.
Okay.
Just like today, even in America, why do they always have a reverend there? Billy Graham worked with 7 presidents in America, regardless of whether they were Republicans or Democrats. It's true globally. This is why the spirituals, so-called, and politicians, so-called, they're always conspiring with each other to control masses. By the way, Guru Nanak wrote this. I actually want to mention this explicitly. He says, people who are just peers and people who are just meers. Mir is a short of Amir, the political head. It's a Persian word. Both are Persian words. And he wrote this. He like people who are just doing one or the other, they actually work with each other to control the masses. And that's the problem. And this is why Sikhs have a phrase called Miri Piri, which means become equally spiritual and equally political. So you're aware of the both.
The equivalent of like a Raj Rishi. Like that's
something like that, which earlier I said was a Raj Jog idea.
Okay. Now I will let you expand on Guru Nanak Dev Ji's kind of later life. What was happening in Kartarpur?
Kartarpur, he's farming.
Okay.
Kartarpur, he's training what we today call next in line, what we call our exit plans.
Oh, like as in succession.
Succession planning. He is also creating institutionalizations of what we're saying, what is that we believe in. So he wrote those. Because you see, in ideologies as well as everywhere in the world, people think everything is biological. He's very aware of that. So he's making sure his thought and what he believes in, his experience gets recorded. And so his kids and their descendants do not dilute it because they didn't get the guruship. Both of his sons didn't get guruship.
What were they up to?
Against him. They started alternative religions, if you ask me.
Really?
Yeah. Like Udasi order is one of his sons. In fact, there's a great lesson in there. Even then, and this is what he's teaching through his life, that they may not agree with him. There's no condemnation. But it's such a clarity is there, they are not the right next in line to continue the Sikh thought. So that's the level of clarity and love at the same time.